is full of crap 2 years ago. Everything I believe in, the fact that we now live in a zero cost of entry game, the fact that nobody at the New York Times now, the gatekeepers, gone. The gatekeepers have lost their keys. There's no editor at the New York Times anymore that's going to tell you if your writing is good enough. There's no producer in Hollywood that's going to tell you if you're pretty enough or thin enough or you've got the right look. That ship has sailed. And what that has created, my friends, is the biggest opportunistic time in the history of business and brand building, period. This is not cable television. When people compare this stuff to cable television, I vomit directly in my mouth. That's insane. Cable television was the extension of 13 channels to 36 channels on a platform. This is the complete and fundamental leveling of a playing field in media, in our culture. Media, which completely controls how we think and what we buy. Media controls, that's why the bad guys so desperately want to control it. That's why the communists control it. That's why Iran and China and Russia, that's why they control it. Because it molds your thought process. Everything you wear, everything you buy, media has been an impact on that. And we are now talking about the first time ever, that media is going into free agency. And that's crazy. And that's game changing. How many people in this room know what Boxee.tv is? BOXEE.tv, raise your hand. You need to. I have no idea if Boxee is going to be Friendster or if Boxee is going to be Facebook. But here's what I know. Cable television is in deep shit. If cable television ran McDonald's and you went to McDonald's and said, hey, I'd like to get a McFlurry and some chicken nuggets, they would answer you like this. Thank you, ma'am. That's really great, but you're going to be buying everything on the menu, and that will be $247 please. That's how we all buy cable television. I am personally pissed that I spent $8 a month on Lifetime. I am not happy that I'm paying $1.47 for the Golf Channel. But that is what we're forced into. What I know is this. Very soon, I will be walking into my home, taking my handheld device to a search engine, typing in the word wine, hitting enter, and Wine Library TV will be right there, and I will hit one button, and it will start playing on my television. And when that comes, game on. Because you think newspapers falling, or magazines falling, or changing culture, wait till TV falls. And then these brands, the brands that I represent with VaynerMedia, my brother AJ and I now have a consulting company called VaynerMedia, the NHL, Cadbury, Saks, all these consumer brands products. Guys, they want to reach eyeballs. They do not care how they come to them. They are not emotionally attached to Time Warner or Comcast. They're emotionally attached to the two eyes on your face. That's what they want to get to, and they could care less where it comes from. And they are going to throw money, and they are throwing money at getting it. And what we are living through is this. Every person in this room, for the first time ever, gets to play by the America that we were all promised. See, the internet is the single most underrated thing in our society. The internet, the consumer internet that we all know, you know, Facebook and Twitter and Ustream and YouTube, they get the credit. They're all on one platform, the internet. 15 years old. It's been 15 years max since you've heard that thing. 15 years max. It's been 15 years max since AOL actually spammed our actual mailboxes with those CDs. Internet's 15 years old. It hasn't had sex yet, and it's dominating. What's very, very important
you haven't been on the right sites.
What's that?
You haven't been on the right sites.
Clearly you have. So, what I think is very important is this, guys. What I think is massively important is this. The audacity that we have to even debate if the internet can be held off or countered by print or radio or television is silliness. It is a complete level playing field. It's a place where things like the Huffington Post and things like TechCrunch and things like Daily Beast and things like on and on and on, Perez Hilton has more eyeballs than Us Weekly. I mean, when you start thinking about those kind of things and how quickly it happens, that more people watch my show, Wine Library TV, than are subscribed to Wine Spectator and Robert Parker combined. When you start thinking about those things, how many people in this room know what Zagat is, the restaurant rating Zagat? Zagat, great people, you know, spent 30 years building that brand. How many of you guys know what Yelp is? Yelp. Not as many. It's a bigger business already than Zagat. And it's well on its way to putting Zagat out of business. And anybody under 25 only knows one brand, not the other. And that's what we're talking about. And oh, by the way, the cost of entry for Yelp to build their business, you know who I feel bad for? Every entrepreneur that came before us. Every person that's not in this room. If entrepreneurs who had their careers in the 40s, 50s, and 60s could find out what we're doing, they would walk right up to you and slap you in the face out of disgust because they would be devastated that for them to start a business, it took hundreds of thousands of dollars in startup money, and for us, it's zero. That you guys can all go to search.twitter right now and put in any keyword you want and find out any conversation around your brand or the subject matter that you do business in, and it costs you nothing. It used to be a multi-billion-dollar industry for understanding consumer trends and getting data like that. Zero. See, what everybody thinks Twitter's stupid is because they're trying to figure out what to say, right? Of course Twitter's dumb. Who cares about eating a pizza or taking a crap or watching the game? I get it. Twitter's not about talking, my friends. Twitter's about listening. The reason I have 850,000 people follow me is because I cared. And I listened. Because I typed in Chardonnay and Merlot and Zin and Pinot Noir and what pairs with fish, and I found people talking about it, and I helped them. Not by trying to close them and giving them a link to winelibrary.com, but because I wanted to build real relationships. See, what I'm excited about is all these mechanisms and mechanics and all these new sites and all these scary things that everybody's so scared about. All this, everybody thinks it's 2040. Business is going to 1940, my friends. The way your grandparents built their business is the way we're going to all have to build our business going forward. Because you see what happens is we start getting very connected, and all of a sudden our entire society is one very small town. Because everybody knows your business. Because I got good news for you. There's no hiding anymore. The dirty and the skeezy and the sleazy and the sucky, they're all getting a spotlight put on them. What social media does is it activates word of mouth. And word of mouth is the single most powerful thing in branding. And word of mouth right now, because of these tools, is on steroids. Word of mouth is Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. It has never been more powerful. See, what you have to understand is the biggest Yenta on the Upper East Side 10 years ago could have told how many people? 30 of her friends? 40 about the restaurant experience, about the dry cleaning experience, about the service you provided, the way you helped them close your house, whatever you do. 50? Now, the weirdest introvert that lives in his mom's basement can tell 6,000 with one tweet, with one Facebook status. And the way that word of mouth travels is how brands get built. And the consumer's expectation is exploding. They expect it. See, 10 years ago, I didn't expect Patrick Ewing to ring my doorbell and say, "Hey man, thanks so much for supporting the Knicks." I didn't expect Madonna to come and sit down and have tea with me. But we very much expect Ocho Cinco to give us a little tweet love, or P. Diddy to say hi, or for somebody to jump on Ustream and say hello. See, I could be talking about all this technology. I promise you, my friends in this room, you are talking to somebody who doesn't give a rat's ass about technology. I did not grow up with a Mac in my home. The most tech savvy I was at 18 years old was I had Sega Genesis and played NHL '94. That's the max of how tech savvy I am. When I'm talking to you guys